Welcome to the It's UATL podcast, your guide to Black culture in Atlanta. I'm Naja Parker.
I'm Nedra Roan.
I'm Deasia Page.
Hey ladies, how we feeling today?
Hello.
It's raining.
It's raining? That's not a feeling.
It kind of is.
Okay.
A raining sort of feeling.
Like a gloomy,
I don't know.
cozy.
It's gloomy.
Maybe you feeling cozy? Like Beyonce, comfortable in my skin.
Just slow.
Okay. Just slow. Well, this week we're talking about Seniors on the Runway, a group redefining what it means to age. Plus, we'll tell you why we can't stop thinking about a painted over mural honoring local news icon Jovita Moore. But first, it's time for the rundown of Black culture news in ATL and beyond, making headlines. Deasia, what do we have first?
So we'll be saying goodbye to Love and Hip Hop very soon, or I guess sooner than what I thought, because I didn't expect it to be ending like this. Recently, Paramount, which streams the show, announced that the franchise will be ending with the 6-part special later this fall. And obviously, Love and Hip Hop has been around for, I think, 15 years. It started in New York and had spinoffs in LA. Miami, and of course Atlanta, which is its most successful spinoff, and it's the one that's still going today. Because right now, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is in its 13th season right now. It's currently airing.
How did I not realize that was on the air for 15 years? I didn't realize that. That's a long time.
It's been a long time. I mean, that was 2011
Wow.
when New York came, and then I think Atlanta was the year after, and then Atlanta just took off and became its own thing. But then, I mean, the Love and Hip Hop Hollywood was also decent. I never got into Love and Hip Hop Miami, but have you all ever watched any of them? Or
I watched New York
Okay.
back in the day, and I think I dabbled in Atlanta, but I don't know anything about Miami or Hollywood.
Hollywood is the one with Ray J and
I didn't watch
and
that.
Princess.
I didn't watch
Yeah,
that.
I'm remembering that.
I feel like I experienced that, but I didn't watch it.
I know what you mean. That's kind of how I feel about Real Housewives of Atlanta. I've experienced the show, but I haven't actually watched it. But Love and Hip Hop, I watched the New York one. I watched Atlanta, maybe a season of the Hollywood one, and maybe episodes of Miami. But the Atlanta one and the New York one, I tuned into those the most. In college, we ate that New York season up with Chrissy and what's the rapper? Jim Jones. And I remember one scene where she dragged somebody by the wig across the floor. I forget what the argument was even about, but we tuned in religiously for a little drama.
Yeah, because Chrissy, she also was the one proposing to Jim Jones, and that was a whole thing. I don't even know if they're still even married or together to this day.
Nobody followed up. Deasia, why do you think that this is the end? What happened?
Well, Paramount hasn't specified why the franchise will be ending, but I mean, I think it's two things. One, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, just, I haven't tuned in maybe over a decade or whatever, and I still rewatch. Well, not still. So sometimes,
No shame.
every now and then I will rewatch just the older seasons, and so I never really, was drawn to this newer era. And two, Paramount is trying to acquire Warner Brothers at the moment. They're trying to they're supposed to be closing the deal soon to acquire Warner Brothers. And obviously before this, I think BT Plus folded into Paramount Plus, and then Tyler Perry got rid of his stake in BET Plus. So there's been a lot of changes with Paramount overall. So I think that's part of the reason why, tied to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, not really having the same fame as it used to.
Being kind of stale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Business decisions and stale content.
Yeah, I haven't watched
That's a recipe for the end.
Yeah. Maybe 2017. I remember moving back to Atlanta from Chicago and still watching. But I don't know if there was a specific reason why I stopped. I think I just found other shows that were more interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I think reality TV has grown a lot since, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta debut. I mean, there's a lot of variety.
There's so many
now.
options.
Yeah, there are a lot of options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I mentioned Chrissy and what's his name? Jim Jones from New York. I don't know why I can't remember his name. But do y'all have any memorable moments from the Atlanta franchise?
I don't.
I have a lot.
You have a lot.
I have none.
When K Michelle and Rashida were getting into it, well, K Michelle now is on Real Housewives of Atlanta, but she started off on Love and Hip Hop.
She's just working her way through the
Yeah.
reality TV franchise.
But when K Michelle said that I'm Rashida and that sound like Shawty Low, like she's like antagonized Rashida for a very long time.
Yeah.
When Rashida's mom drove over Kurt's motorcycle because he was cheating and philandering all over the place. Jocelyn Hernandez.
Ooh, just pick
remember
one,
her.
right? Like any of her moments.
Any moment. I mean,
I
the one
remember
that
her.
stood out to me when she talked to Mimi. She was like, "Hey, May, I see you got your maid outfit on." And Mimi, by the way, is Stevie J's baby mama, and Jocelyn was Stevie J's girlfriend turned wife turned ex, whatever. There was a throuple for the most part. But yeah, so many moments. I mean, without Love and Hip Hop, we probably wouldn't have Cardi B. So, she was on the New York iteration of it. So, and then K Michelle, she's had a pretty successful career too. I mean, she's second to Cardi B, I would say, in the R&B space, and now she's trying to do country music.
That's a whole nother
Yeah, that's
conversation.
the thing. So, I mean, it's
Come off of Love and Hip Hop and be like, I'm a
moments.
country star.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace to Love and Hip Hop.
Nedra, what do we have next?
Well, hopefully some of these cast members of Love and Hip Hop will hang around to vote for the new governor. Keisha Lance Bottoms is dominating the race for governor in Georgia right now. According to the latest poll from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, she is at 39% support among Democratic primary voters, and that is the biggest lead of anyone else. As you may know, in the race, we also have DeKalb County Chief Executive Michael Thurman. He's got about 10%. Former State Senator Jason Estevez has about 8%, and former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, who I also call Switcheroo, he's at 7%. But then we have like 1/3 of voters who are undecided. So obviously that could change things dramatically depending on what happens in the primary. But, that's pretty interesting. 39% is a nice lead, but, what happens to those 35% of voters who are undecided, we don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What y'all think?
I mean, do you think she really has a chance to be the governor?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I mean, I think when you talk to people, because they know her and they know that she has a stance on, policy and things like that. I think that's one of the most common things that people say about candidates is, I don't know what they stand for. And I think she's been very clear about what her policies are. Now, whether people agree with them or not is another question. Whether people agree with the decisions she's made in the past when she served as mayor, also another question. And I think those are the things that'll end up, with the people who are undecided determining which way things go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also wonder if the state is ready for a Black woman governor. If we just think back a couple of years ago to Miss Stacey Abrams, who ran for this position twice and lost both times, I wonder what Georgia thinks about Black women running the state.
Or a Democrat. I mean, there hasn't been a Democratic candidate to win for governor since, 98 or something?
Yeah.
I think Roy Barnes. Listen, I was barely alive in 98. That was my birth year, so I don't
Just
remember.
barely opening her eyes.
But I think that's the last. Damn, that's wild. Jesus Christ, what's going
Because
on?
how many years is there? That's like,
Let's
I'll
not
be
do the math.
28.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say it's anybody's race because, I think obviously she's the front runner, but, people, what they do in the voting booth is what they do in the voting booth, and it isn't always what they say in the polls. So we've been fooled by polls before.
Yeah.
Good luck to all involved.
Good luck. Good luck. In other news, if you are going to be participating or enjoying the World Cup this year, you'll be able to openly drink an alcoholic beverage. Thanks to the Atlanta City Council, we'll be able to drink on public streets and city sidewalks that encompass the area. So that will include the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Centennial Olympic Park, and areas near Georgia Aquarium, the World of Coca-Cola, and the National Center for Civil and Human Rights. So the goal is to obviously capitalize on visitor spending and to allow more foot traffic. This is actually the second move from the Atlanta City Council. Earlier this year, they approved for South Downtown to have this same policy. So now they're expanding it. And yeah, what do y'all think about walking around enjoying some soccer with a little tequila in your hand, maybe?
I think there's some people who weren't aware that that was not legal. That's what I think. So thanks for, signing off. But I think that was already happening.
And I should note that this is the second approval. This has never been done before. So them making this a thing for South Downtown a couple of months ago, and then them now expanding the area. This is the first time Atlanta has ever had this kind of policy.
Yeah.
So y'all probably been breaking the law.
Wait, who's y'all?
The y'all you just specified.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like me and Deasia. I'm like, no, we weren't doing that. But there's some y'alls out there who I am certain and I have seen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, doing what they want to do on the streets.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like taking a little bottle and putting, your own concoction in there.
That happens everywhere, for sure. I mean, it was definitely going to happen during the World Cup.
Yeah. Regardless of the rule or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I wonder how the crowds are going to be with a little extra something in their
extra
system.
Excited.
Yeah, I feel like this is giving me one more reason to avoid downtown during that time.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be
if
a
I'm
lot
not
going
obligated to work or do something then. But
the tournament's going to be here in Atlanta from June 11th to July 19th. There are going to be 8 matches taking place at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, including a semi-final game. And we're expecting around 300,000 visitors.
That's a lot of folks.
That's a lot of liquor.
A lot of folks with a lot of open containers.
And I should note that this expansion is only temporary. So for these areas that I specified earlier, you'll only be able to participate in this open drinking policy from June 11th to July 19th. Now, the downtown district, the first one that they ever approved, has a little bit more wiggle room. But you have to be very careful. You got to read the fine print so you don't get caught slipping once the World Cup
I love these
leaves.
dates. I'm like, really?
It's not doing anything for you?
I'm sure there are people who have their stash as they walk up and down the streets.
And I think after this happens, they'll probably do some reassessing to see how folks handled their liquor on the public street. And maybe they will do this again in the future for big events, or maybe they'll be like, this is the first and last time we'll ever have an open container neighborhood or policy. But for all who's excited about drinking and soccer, enjoy yourself. Have a great time.
Yes.
I will be at the house if I can help it.
Yeah, same.
All right, y'all. Now it's time for our main segment. So today we are talking about Seniors on the Runway, a group of older models who travel across the state putting on fashion shows. Their goal is to redefine what it looks like to age. So it had us thinking about the misconceptions of aging and what groups like this are doing to change the narrative. Now, have y'all ever heard of Seniors on the Runway?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Not until you said it.
Right.
I found out about this group thanks to my dad. And
Is he a senior?
What?
Is he a senior on the runway?
He ain't a senior on the runway, just a senior. But he heard about this group. I think he saw a news segment that highlighted the group. And he said, let me reach out to my daughter because I think she might enjoy doing a video project on it. I said, now, Dad, you got a good idea here. I am interested because I immediately saw visual storytelling with this, just high heels, hats, all these type of poses, just the flair of the outfits. So I started doing some research and I did indeed do a video pitch for this. So I recently went to one of their latest fashion shows. They are in the middle of celebrating their 20th anniversary. So this group has been around for 2 decades.
Wow.
And they've grown tremendously over the last several years. So they started out with just a few models. Now they have expanded to 400 models across 3 states. Their Georgia franchise includes an Albany group, an Atlanta group, obviously, a Macon group. So they have these little franchises where they put on shows throughout the year.
They have more models than Ebony Fashion Fair did.
And are they? So did they start in Georgia?
They did start
Okay.
in Georgia,
Gotcha.
yep. And then it kept growing because people love the idea of watching seniors be in community, having fun, showing that they still got it, putting on their high heels, wearing high splits, just all the things. And they like the idea of folks just glamorizing what it looks like to age. Because when we think about aging, you probably don't have a good feeling about it.
Right.
People are always trying to get rid of their gray hairs. People think that you just turn into a grandparent, that you don't have no community. You sitting down watching your stories.
Stories.
But this group is kind of defying all of that. So I went down to the show. They did a show in Forsyth, which is about an hour outside of Atlanta. And in fact, they're doing 20 shows to celebrate their 20th anniversary. And this was the 6th of 20.
Yeah. So are these folks like previous models, or how does one join, or like what's the criteria for? Or do you just have to be a senior?
No, you got to audition.
Okay.
You gotta do a catwalk audition.
There is an audition process, and you are judged based on 5 categories. I'm going to forget all 5 categories, but part of it is your poise. Are you, what's the right way to say it? Y'all might have to help me, like, mentally capable.
Mindset.
Like you got a certain sharpness about you.
Mental acuity.
Maybe that's what it is. Mental acuity. So those are some of the categories. And you get judged by the judges. And I forget the exact, I'm screwing all this up. I forget the exact score that you have to meet. But the point is, there is an audition process, and you're judged based on 5 different categories. And the founder, Carrie Hamilton, she told me that a couple people have had to audition more than once just to get in, because I guess they didn't
have it together
They
the
didn't
first
have
time.
it together just yet. Maybe they thought, like I thought, that this is going to be a church fashion show where anybody who wants to participate can participate.
The
But
church, not the
Miss Carrie said no. She said no. So a lot of these people have not modeled before. They've had an interest in fashion and style, but never been on the stage to perform a catwalk.
And then the clothes that they wear, where does that come from? Are these their own clothes or other?
They're other clothes. So they work with different vendors, different fashion vendors, makers who make, all the stuff with the glitter and the gold things.
it's lots of glitter.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of everything. Lots of colors, lots of flair. So that's really intentional too, because even when you visit or go to these fashion shows, the lobby is usually set up with vendors. So you can go shop different products, and then you can also get to know the fashion designers.
So you can buy off the runway.
Sometimes you can buy off the runway, and if you can't buy off the runway, you can at least be introduced to the person responsible for making the clothes. So this all started thanks to a woman named Carrie Hamilton. She grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and she graduated from Clark Atlanta University. She's got about 3 degrees. One of her degrees is in media and mass communication, and then she eventually delved into mental health and works as a counselor. And she also had a career as a model. So when she was growing up, she was discovered at Greenbrier Mall, and she since went on to do campaigns for Bronner Brothers. She's participated in their shows. She also has done campaigns for Macy's department store. She named a department store I hadn't heard of. She named a department store named Riches. I feel like this was before my time.
Yeah, that's big Atlanta. Yeah, that's.
Whoops, don't tell. We gonna cut that out, right? Because I don't want to be shamed.
Riches was like the department store in Atlanta.
Okay.
And then remember, Macy's came in and took over, just as they did in every other city. So, in Chicago, it was Marshall Field.
Okay.
And they took over there too. Anyway.
Well, that makes sense, because
Riches
I'm
was the store
wondering
that Macy's
if
took over.
For Memphis, it was Goldsmith.
Right.
And then it became Macy's. So,
right.
okay, I understand this now.
Yeah.
So she had a bunch of modeling campaigns, and she wanted to do, you mentioned Fashion Fair. She said it was her dream to be a part of the Fashion Fair show, but at the time she was not of age. They said, girl, you need a couple more years before we can officially get you in here. So she continued to be interested in fashion and modeling. And when she wanted to launch something, she was trying to get sponsors and folks to help her out with it, but people weren't really loving the idea of it. So she said she was inspired by her father.
Wait, they weren't loving the idea of seniors?
Yes, they were not loving the idea of seniors. And her father was like, girl, just do it yourself.
How old is she?
She is now in her early 50s.
Oh,
And she
okay.
started
So
this
she's
when she
not
was
on
in
the
her
runway.
30s. No, she is not on
She
the
just
runway.
organizes the
Oh,
seniors.
okay.
On the
Yeah, but
runway.
because she has this modeling background, she
Right.
trains the models, she facilitates all the rehearsals.
Got it. So
and she
she's like the
teaches
Miss
how to
J
train.
of the crew.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Makes them
exactly.
walk and
And she said her dad was an inspiration because he was a dance choreographer and he's always been vibrant. And she was inspired by his vibrancy. The more he got older or the more he aged, the more energetic he became. And his nickname is Big Daddy.
okay.
And when it was time to pick somebody to be the face of the organization, she chose her dad. He was a dance choreographer, and she said she didn't have any rhythm when she was a young girl. So her dad would kind of put her feet on his feet so that they could move together. And she always remembers that and wanted to kind of give back to him in this way. So that's why she started a group that was solely dedicated to seniors.
And how old is he?
He is 77 years old.
Okay.
And he was on that runway, y'all.
I'm
He
sure
was on
he
that
was.
runway.
Big Daddy. Come on, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay.
So first, we're going to hear from the founder, Carrie. She's going to give us a quick little overview about the organization and her inspiration behind it all. Then we're going to hear from some models who have been participating, and they're going to tell you about some misconceptions of aging and what it's like to actually attend this show. And I can attest that it is live, okay? It's the most energetic crowd that I've ever seen. So let's take a listen, and then we'll come back.
I tell them seniors are no longer rocking chairs, they're rocking runways. The misconception is that the seniors have to be put in a box. They say that once they get a certain age, they should not have their arms out. They should not wear their legs out. They should act like grandparents. We glamorize aging. Aging, getting older is okay. I want them to know to live the dash. We know the year that we were born. We know what we're doing throughout our life. We don't know our death date. So there's a little dash in between the year that you were born, but you got to live the dash. I want people to know and to realize that seniors matter. And if I can put them on my stage to get people to notice them, I'm going to do it every time. I want the legacy to be our family did something major to enhance the lives of seniors.
It is exhilarating. It is exhilarating. You feel the energy. I'm going into my senior lifestyle, something new, a new phase of life, and to know that it doesn't have to be like society says. You know, I don't have to just go in a corner and wither away. In 2020, I had what's called an acute saddleback pulmonary embolism. That is blood clots. Blood clots filled both my lungs and all 4 chambers of my heart. I died. I flatlined 3 times. I was in a coma for 4 days. So a lot of things in my life was lifing at that time. So to run into Singers on the Runway, it was such a blessing.
I was stage 2 cancer, breast cancer, but I was still modeling. And at one time, I thought Carrie would tell me to sit down. But she did not say sit down. She said, Iris, if you could get up here and model, model.
When people become seniors, they become lonely and depressed, and they become isolated. We're in our routine every day. It's the rat race, and we're going and going, and we're trying to find the cheese, you know? And so that can become very repetitive. As you get older, you don't have the stamina, you don't have the endurance, unless you're working out and eating right and doing a lot of different things, which is also something that we do with Scenes on the Runway. So it's like we're a whole community. We do all kinds of stuff together. We vacation together. We go out and eat together. We celebrate birthdays together. We talk on the phone. We have fashion shows. We do it all together. I love Scenes on the Runway. It's probably one of the best things I could have done for myself in my latter years.
And we'll be right back.
All right, y'all. So what did y'all think? What stood out to you?
Well, I was very interested in what Onita, is that
Yes,
pronounced that right?
that's the
Onita
same
Johnson.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
She talked about something that I think is a big issue when we think about aging, and it's the loneliness and depression, because, you know, your circle becomes smaller, you know, whether it's through, you know, people dying or just, you know, whatever, right? And so the thing that stood out for me was her saying, that this is community too. It's not just, them getting up there and performing on the runway, but it's also creating a community for so many people. And I think that's one thing that is really important as you age, is to figure out, what does your community look like? How do you keep building community? Because I think we also have this idea in our heads that the people that you know are the people that you have to know for the rest of your life. And everyone talks about how hard it is to make friends when you're older. But there are ways, for you to get to know people and to engage with people and to build a community, even on the other side of, I don't know what the bottom line is, 65? Is it what the age cutoff is for the group?
There is no.
Okay, but whatever it is, like whatever qualifies you to be a senior on the runway, like there is something on the other side and a way to make friends and get to know people and be part of a community.
Yeah, there was one line from, is it Onita or Oneida? Do you know?
Onita. And hopefully that's right. I have to go back and listen. But it's Onita, and she also goes by OJ.
OJ.
OJ the Juice.
Let's go, OJ.
Okay, well, OJ, one line that she said that kind of really stood out to me was, we're in our routine every day. It's the rat race, and we're going and going, and we trying to find the cheese, And so that can become very repetitive. And I was like, man, I kind of feel that way today.
Yeah.
But, and it made me wonder, like, damn, when I'm that age, I don't want to keep, I feel like I'm in this like incessant period of like chasing,
striving.
And I don't want to feel that way, at that age. Like I want to be able to be, free in some capacity. But that was a very like existential response, but it warranted it. Like it kind of like warranted that out of me a little bit. But yeah, that line really like stood out to me. Like I really want to be free and like just strut on the runway and that type of thing. So
I thought it was interesting too, them talking about the struggles they've had health wise, and overcoming those, because I also think that people think you're older, you get sick, and that's just, it's all downhill from there. But they're like, no, I had breast cancer, or, someone had a pulmonary embolism, but they're on the runway, And I think that that's a different way of thinking about aging too than the way we have in the past. It's like you can get sick, you can be ill, but you can still get up and strut your stuff.
And a lot of the models were so appreciative of that. I think they even had this assumption that, once I get sick, I won't be welcomed in this community anymore. But the founder was like, no, come on. If you're able and if you feel good, I want to see you strut on this runway. Even when I was there at the show in Forsyth, there was this couple. I'm going to forget their name, but there was this couple. They are both a part of the group. And he had just gotten out the hospital maybe days before coming to this show, and they did not think he was going to make it. His health was declining quickly, and he felt good enough after getting out of the hospital to come support his community that were a part of the Seniors on the Runway. So she highlighted him during the show. He came up in front of everyone and he said a couple of words, and he talked about how thankful to God he was that he was still here. I mean, even his wife during the interview, she had a moment where she was just giving God the glory. She started tearing up, and it's like she pretty much started shouting right there on the spot.
Oh, wow. She caught the spirit.
It really was like a
spirit on the runway.
It was a testimony. And then when she finished telling the story about how they overcame all these health struggles and were still a part of this community, she looked over to her husband and she said, do you have anything else to add? He said, no, you said it all. You said it all. He was like, how you get when you start going. So that was a testimony to them to know that they could be a part of this community no matter what happens to them health-wise. Yeah. And another thing that stood out to me too, when you brought up OJ, she mentioned that she was caring for two older parents who were in their 80s. So I can't imagine what it's like to, I guess, to reckon with your own aging as you're caring for somebody else who's aging. That feels like a lot to hold.
Well, did anything really, surprise you from your time there?
I think,
and also, sorry not to cut you off. I also want to know, like, how long was this event too?
The show was probably about an hour to an hour and a half. So.
Oh, wow. The show?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah. Right? Am I getting that right? at least an hour. And it was separated into different acts. So you had different scenes. So I think one of the scenes, it was great.
This is very Fashion Fair inspired.
Is it really?
I'm feeling like it is.
I could see that because I was really entertained from beginning to end. They had a DJ there. Carrie was actually the MC, and when they introduced her, she took her opportunity to strut the runway. I mean, she was. The look she was given, I could tell, like, girl, can you teach me something? Because you really got it. She introduced the show. There was one scene where the ladies came out and they strutted to Bootylicious by Destiny's Child. And then they had a set of chairs in the front. And they were just really interacting with the crowd. The crowd might have been my favorite part of the show. There were people in the audience who had whistles. I guess that's the thing. They had these red whistles.
Blow the whistle.
They were blowing the whistle. There were ladies who had fans. So the better your pose, the harder they would clap the fan. And I was like, wow, I didn't know you could have this much fun in your older age. And I think that's just part of me being naive and not being an older adult just yet. I think you reserve all your fun for your 20s and your 30s. But I learned that is not the case.
Not on the runway.
Not on the runway.
Seniors on the runway.
And I don't think I've ever seen this many seniors together all at once. Usually I see a couple seniors at church, It
was like a party.
It was like a party. It was.
Well, how do you feel, Naja, about aging right now?
Well, better now. After I've seen them, I think there's so much unknown about aging that can kind of scare you. The gray hairs, how am I going to look? What's my health going to be like? Who will I be surrounded by? Who's still here with me on this side of earth? Those thoughts can kind of send you into a spiral. But I think if you get wrapped up in thinking about that, you miss being present and you miss the beauty of aging. Them folks won't think about none of that. They were focused on having a good time and making sure they were showing off them outfits. Right. So I think it's a lesson in also just being present.
Yeah, it's well, how do you feel about aging?
Well, as someone a little further along, it changes, there are days where I'm like, whatever, it's fine, and then there are days where I'm like, like when you get out of bed and something hurts and you're like, wait, what? Sometimes it catches you by surprise. So I'm sure that I've mentioned before, 40-year-old shoulder. I've told you all about that. And, one day I just got up and I could not lift my arm over my head. And I was like, what's happening? And I was running back through like my day, like, what did I do? Did I, I wasn't playing tennis. I wasn't I wasn't doing anything that would have done it. And I had to figure out this is something that is very normal and it happens when you get older and all the things that you have to do to better position yourself for that to not happen. So I had it once. I'd hope I never have it again. But that was kind of the thing that woke me up in a way, and made me think I have to change the way I'm approaching aging and getting older. I think, when you're moving along, you don't think I'm getting old. Like, I don't think I'm getting old. I think, I feel like I'm 20.
Yeah.
But, my child will for sure tell me you are not. Somebody's going to remind you that you are not, in your 20s anymore. But I think that it is like more a state of mind. And I think I've come to appreciate that. Like, I look at, what was that? The Met Gala, right? And looking at the people who, and I didn't want to use names, but it was on Instagram. So Lala might have used a little too much filler.
Oh, yeah, she does.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, to me, like, that's what I always want to stay cognizant of is like, it's not necessarily how you're looking on the outside. It's really more about how do you feel? How's your health? How are you moving? And, are you still curious about the world and about things that you don't know about? Like Deasia telling me about some of these people I've never heard of in my life, artists that I've never, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'll listen. I'm like, oh, I do like this or I like that. So just staying open to the world, I think, is a very important part of aging. And I've tried to focus on that. So what about you, Deasia?
It's an interesting and sort of complicated question because I think, and I feel like a lot of some Black kids go through this, but I feel like when I was like 13, I feel like I was already an adult or treated like an adult or had a lot of adult experiences. And I know like a lot of Black kids experience like this thing of like adultification where people or institutions make us feel older or more mature than what we are because of societal pressures or whatever. So, sometimes I make this joke like, I'm 27, but spiritually I'm 47. But I feel like that comes from a very real place and feeling that, as a child, I just, had a lot of adult responsibilities and experiences that I probably should not have had. So when I think about aging, it's like I'm kind of looking forward to the day when I can say, when is it going to be my turn to be a child again or have that in my life? So that's maybe a darker
No, I mean, it makes sense.
answer.
That's what you said before, like freedom, having, that makes sense.
I think you should do Seniors on the Runway when
Right.
the time comes, because one of the ladies I talked to said she had always had an interest in fashion since she was a little girl, like playing dress up in her mama's closet. So I feel like this group allowed her to kind of live out some childhood dreams and bring back that childhood wonder that you might have felt like you missed out on.
That's going back to Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta Jocelyn is famous for this meme where she says the grandma, the baby. Like, hopefully, I get to be the baby, when I'm grandma or something. So,
do you think that aging is different for Black women or Black people, but especially Black women? Because, of course, there's the adage that Black don't crack, right? Everybody's heard that. Everybody says it. Asian don't raisin. What else? What else doesn't do anything? I don't know. But do you think it's different?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I'm not in those other communities. I'm not as familiar, but I'm certainly familiar with the Black don't crack. Sometimes when I say my age now, I even get looks like, oh, I thought you were much younger than that, which of course I appreciate it, but I don't think we should use phrases like that as an excuse not to take care of yourself. I think health and wellness in all facets, mental, physical, emotional, are still very important. And you have to maintain that no matter whether you look 20 and you really 35 or you look 75 and you really 95, you still have to go out of your way to take care of yourself. And one of the things I really liked about this group is that they incorporate that into their programming. So they work out together and they really stress the importance of a healthy diet. So even this group is thinking about, okay, we say Black don't crack, but what does that actually mean and how do we really achieve that?
And how does that look on the inside?
Yeah.
Because we might be cracking inside, but looking good outside.
Go to your appointments, okay? Even now, like, you know, people are afraid to go to the doctor. Even now, you should not be. If you really want to be here for a long time, you got to learn to invest in yourself in that way.
Do y'all remember that in Essence when they used to do the age thing? Did you all ever see that?
I don't think
and
so.
They would have
it?
like, it was like every year they would do, I don't know if it was an age issue, but they had pictures. I remember
that sounds
it's like pictures
memories.
of women, and there'd be like a woman who was like 95 and she looked like she was 50. And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You know? And they always, every year they would do it. And I used to like seeing that, not necessarily because I was like, oh, you know, we look good, blah, 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 whatever. But just because I think it offered even then a different view of aging. And I felt like I didn't see that in other publications. It was very specific to, you know, Essence and to Black women and the way that we, and maybe it was, you know, motivated by that whole idea of, you know, Black don't crack. So they were just going to show us exactly how intact the Black was.
Yeah.
And I think for us, aging, you know, is sort of a gift because there is this thing of like racial weathering where it's like Black people have been, you know, through so much, and how racism and like systemic oppression contributes to our overall health over time. And so even making it to, you know, 50, 60, 70, 80 is, you know, something worth celebrating for our community, I think.
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment. What do you all think about people who are trying a little too hard, maybe to fight aging, just like the physical appearance of aging? What do y'all think about when people go too far?
It's tough when thinking about it, when thinking about this in like a celebrity lens, because they're constantly critiqued for their appearance. So I'm trying to give a little bit of grace because it's like your body, you know, your looks are always under a microscope. But I do think that the standards for, you know, how we look these days are different than what they used to be. And I think people are trying to confine to those, you know, standards, probably a little bit too much. But I think the standards have definitely shifted also.
You think people want to look younger? Yeah.
I also wonder if it's one of those things where once you start, it's hard to stop. And I don't know if addiction is too strong of a word, but you're always striving for the next best look, and there's not an end to it. So I think at some point you have to get to a point where you are satisfied and you're accepting what your body's just gonna naturally do.
Yeah.
I'm fine with enhancers. I mean, I don't know enough even to speak about fillers and all these other cosmetic procedures and the Botox and all the things. Not to say that I never will, but I think they're not supposed to be used every week or every day. I think you're supposed to spread them out.
Used and
Yeah,
abused.
like when it gets to a point where I can like clearly see like you're using this too much, and I think that's when it's like, okay, what's your relationship with this, and why are you so connected to this?
I always wonder who are the plastic surgeons who will keep doing that to excess. You know, like why don't you? I don't know. I mean, don't you have a point at which you're like, I can't do this anymore because it's starting to disfigure you? Like when you see someone and their face doesn't look like you might not identify them. And I find this often, of course, with celebrities. Sometimes you wouldn't even identify them. You don't even know who it is because their face looks so dramatically different. That's kind of weird. But I also feel the flip side of all this, of course, is we have so many things now that generations didn't have before.
That's a good point.
You know, there's all these, you know, I can't even name half of the fillers out there. And I'm going to fess up. When I was 35, I wrote a story about plastic surgery, and I felt like I had to try it in order to be able to speak about it. So I got Restylane in my, what do they call it? Nasolabials.
And what does that do?
So it's filler. So it
Okay.
just fills out the lines, you know,
Around
right
your
around your mouth
nose.
and nose, right? But I was 35. I didn't really have...
There wasn't nothing to fill out.
Right. But I wanted to feel, what did it feel like to have an injection, you know, to go in there? And it was painful. My face was paralyzed on one side. I had to drink Coke to get the feeling back. You know, like this side of my mouth was hanging open. I mean, it was a lot to go through. And I was like, wow, this is what people experience in order to get a certain look. It was a lot. But it opened my eyes to all the things that are available and that people will do in order to have a certain look. So
I'm not gonna do whatever procedure you just talked about. Because how long was your face? Like, how long did it take to adjust?
Maybe
just
a few
day or
hours.
two? Oh, hours. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it wasn't like crazy. I mean, you know, so they hit a nerve. And so I could feel when they depressed the thing, it shot through the side of my face. And I was like, oh, yeah. So it was crazy. And like I said, I couldn't, you know, walk around like, it was like going to the dentist and getting the, you know.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know, I was like, what's going to happen? Like, what's my face going to look like? And it, you know, it looked the same.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, but again, there wasn't a lot to fill. So it was what it was. I don't know what would happen if I tried it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
How do y'all think this shift in our thoughts about aging is being reflected among younger women? Like Nia Long, she been fine all her life. Angela Bassett, they've been fine all their lives. And we do these side-by-side pictures with these women we love, and you barely see a difference. And they get this auntie title,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's pushback on the auntie, you know, like I've seen.
Yeah, Oprah and Gail did not like
they didn't
being
like it.
called
Did I miss that? What did they do?
auntie. Or I think it was Oprah and Ava DuVernay or something. They were like highly against being called aunties. I remember that was like a debate back maybe a few years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they thought, it was disparaging and disrespectful, which, you know, I get that.
I can't remember where I saw it, but it was someone saying the only kids that I'm auntie to are the children of my siblings, you know, something like that. And I was like, okay, you know, I get it. But, you know, I understand where they're coming from, because I do feel like, you know, even though we have tried to take it as a term of endearment,
Right.
I think it's the same as like looking at a senior or a grandparent as someone whose utility is only to mentor younger people or to help or to be there for younger people. And I think auntie carries with it the same sort of connotation. It's like, okay, you're here to share your wisdom with other, you know, people. Well, no, you're also here to live your life and to, you know, build your career and to, you know, be in the world and be, you know, so there's so many other things. And there's just like always, I think, this reaching for a way to define people in that period of their lives. And we won't even talk about the historical,
Yeah.
you know, the uncle and auntie. We know where all that came from.
But you know what I did appreciate at the Met Gala was Bad Bunny. He kind of, he was kind of old Bunny on the red
What?
carpet.
Oh no, I missed that. What did he
showed
do?
up he was really unrecognizable, but an older version of himself, basically. I'm not sure what prompted that, honestly, but it was nice to see. And honestly, I said, you know what, Bad Bunny, I still would, and you still could. So
I knew you were about to go there.
But I appreciated seeing someone who was, in this age of where people are, trying to, age backwards. He was having a comical moment in embracing, aging. So
That kind of makes me think of high school. We used to have homecoming week, and one of the days used to be to dress up as older people. And, we took the stereotypical route, hunching your back, gray fro,
Hobbling.
glasses, hearing aid, cane, suspenders. I never saw anybody with some heels on, a split, living the fabulous life with a Louis Vuitton bag. Or I never saw any of that at all. So I can appreciate Bad Bunny being fly, even in his version of older him.
But I'll tell you what, a few weeks ago when Miss Finola Culbreath walked into the studio, I almost passed out. I was like, you're my idol. Yeah.
I was underdressed.
I mean,
no, severely
Just-
on my end. Yes.
stunning. That to me is like, okay, that's something to reach for.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's a real person.
It's a real person.
So we can all do it. A couple years ago, I interviewed a woman named Jennifer Wheaton. She was in her 70s, and she might still be now. But it was in relation to, do you all remember the show Golden Bachelor?
Yeah.
And so all of this was starting to hit the market, and I wanted to find someone who was real and who was out there, dating as a 70, 65 plus, whatever. So she had her daughter and two 20-somethings helping her create a profile on Bumble and Hinge. And she went through like what her criteria were. Like she was looking for, someone who could be a companion. She could travel. They could have fun together. She, said that, she had a few girlfriends who were on the apps and they've been successful getting dates, but really it's been like short-term relationships. That wasn't her interest at all. She's more interested in something longer term. She didn't want to go on one of these shows.
Okay.
That was not her jam. But she was like, hey, there's still people here who are over the age of 65 who want to date and to travel and enjoy life in much the ways that they did before. And also in ways like you're talking about, Deasia, that are more free because you don't have to worry about kids. You don't have to worry about, a job, because most people are retired at that age. So there's all this freedom that you have. And if you are not, in a relationship or, maybe your circle of friends is small or whatever, you still want to get out there. And she was very much talking about how it can be challenging, but that she was, looking forward to finding a way to be out there in the world. And the funniest thing was after they went through, there's a video actually on ajc.com of this, so y'all can go back and look at it. But she finishes her profile. And as soon as it's done, she didn't put an age requirement. As soon as her profile was up, she got a response from a 30-year-old man. And her daughter was like, "Oh no, ma'am, you will not be going out with him."
Not that one.
But that shows, that I think it didn't matter. Like she's a beautiful woman, and he was just like, "Oh," he saw her picture, and he was like, "Okay,
That's enough."
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
None of the other stuff mattered. So I think that that's something that looks a little bit different now too.
Yeah, there are some dating shows catering to an older audience. You mentioned The Golden Bachelor. I'm thinking about that Netflix show, Later Daters. Did y'all watch that one?
I did not. But
I saw
heard
maybe
of
one or
it.
two
Yeah, I heard
episodes.
about it.
Yeah. Can I just say that it was discouraging?
Oh,
In
God.
the sense that, not in all the ways, but it was enlightening to know that some things don't change.
Trifling,
age does
trifling
not
in
imply
20
maturity.
is trifling in 70.
Exactly. And then there was another show I was thinking of. So we said Later Daters, The Golden Bachelor. Oh, and there's another Netflix one, Age of Attraction. Have y'all heard about
I
that
heard
one?
of that one,
Yes.
yeah.
So I think these shows dating shows are obviously very popular, but they're trying to cater to this new audience. And I would say Later Daters probably did it the best in terms of authentically showcasing what it's like to date when you're up there. But to your point and everything you talked about with the person you highlighted, it's tough out here, but I still want to have some companionship, and I'm not too old to get out here and do it,
Yeah. So what would we say to our older selves?
That's a hard one.
I know for me, I think I would, hopefully I'm still here, but I would say, I just hope that you're just free and not always in your head. And I hope you found some sense of peace.
I would tell myself to remember to stay present, as you said, and to be curious.
Yeah, I got some good ones. I think I would say something about just being proud of myself at every stage that I've been in. You did the best with what you had. And I think I would just show gratitude for all the phases, no matter what they look like. Messy, buttoned up, somewhere in between.
Yeah, that's a
Be grateful.
great way to end it. Yeah.
Okay, so before we let you go, it's time for Rent Free, where we talk about a story that is taking up real estate in our minds. And this week, the honor goes to a coffee house in Grant Park that recently painted over a mural of Jovita Moore, the late Jovita Moore. She was an anchor, a news anchor for WSB TV, and a reporter, much loved. And she had a lovely mural that was painted by Tommy Bronx. So the mural was located on the side of a building that's just off Boulevard in Grant Park. And the new renters, Bellwood Coffee, recently opened their new space there. And they were building out. They cut a window into the side that the mural was on. And because of the way the window was positioned, they decided that they needed to just paint over the mural. And they replaced it with signage for their business. And it looks dark gray, maybe almost black, really. So no more Jovita. Well, needless to say, when some residents saw that, they were very upset because, of course, she is someone who is much loved and revered in the community. The company, Bellwood, then came in and apologized for their oversight, and they said that they would come back and commission a new mural. So, yes. Anyway, I wrote a column about all of this, and it incited a lot of commentary online and people commenting on their feelings about it. So what do y'all think? I don't know. I mean, I know you should not read the comments, but I did read the comments, and they started upsetting me, honestly.
Really?
Just because I felt like people were really not understanding the point of why I wrote the column, first of all. And I want to speak specifically to one comment where someone was like, they already apologized, can't we just move on? And not shame the business further. And for anyone who thinks that a journalist is writing a story to shame a business, you're really not understanding what journalism is all about. So I just want to say that very clearly, because that was insulting to me.
Yeah.
That I would just sit here and write a column to shame someone. That wasn't the point. There's a very deep, I think, issue with regard to community art that the approach that we take in many communities. And I even cited another story that I had written back in December about a neighborhood in South Atlanta. The National Center for Civil and Human Rights had commissioned a painting. And, the community was upset about the painting that was created because it depicted things in a way that they didn't want to depict it. And so to me, it didn't matter whether it was Bellwood Coffee or someone else. It only matters that the approach that we take sometimes to placing murals, especially ones that reference historical figures or people that we look up to or are inspired by, you have to think about the impact that is having in the community beyond what you think it's having. And they did not, as they admitted, Bellwood Coffee did not do that. So anyway, enough of me. What do y'all think?
Man, I
I'm getting
saw
worked
this.
up again.
No, get worked up. I think it's something worth getting worked up about, because when I saw the news, I was very upset about it. I don't know, it hit me in an emotional way. I frequent Bellwood Coffee. They have a location on Riverside that I've gone to. I have a favorite barista that I met at a coffee shop in Smyrna. He left that job and then went to the the Bellwood location. And then he's since left and he's done his own thing. So I'm familiar with it because of him. So I've bought their coffee beans. I've sat there and
Is it good?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
curious.
Yes. Very cozy in there. I take a book in there and I read. So I was excited that they were expanding, but so disappointed that they painted over this mural. And I was still left with a couple of questions for them specifically. Like, I understand the window situation and I guess
I don't understand it.
You know,
Yeah,
like I'm
I
guessing
still
they're
don't
saying
understand it.
in order to make the windows, they would have had to cut through part of the mural and it would have destroyed it anyway. Is that what they mean by the window thing?
Yes, that's what we can deduce from what they initially said. I think they realized when they said that how it sounded, and then they came back with a different statement that was just, you know what? We're sorry. We moved too fast on this. We should have done this differently. You know, yes, I think at one point they said, in retrospect, we could have left the mural and still cut the window, even though it would have changed, you know, the overall appearance of the mural. They could have still just left it in place.
And they did this without talking to the community. They made a decision among themselves. I guess I'm curious about the conversations they had together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sense of entitlement because you don't have to, you know, you have the privilege of not thinking about others. That's inherent of white, you know, supremacy and like in this society and how it functions. So that's why I feel like that's a part of why people were very upset and they, you know, really had a right to be. So, and shout out to this person, Fire Lord Hutch at 3 Much Hutch on Twitter or X or whatever you calling it now. I think this person was the one who initially called this out.
Okay.
And prompted Bellwood Coffee
The first
to respond.
response, yeah.
They haven't been active on Twitter at all. They only have like 5 or 22 followers. And so yeah, it was this person's tweet that kind of sparked all of this discussion. So shout out to this person for being observant.
Yes.
Also, I feel like it's important to push back on the people who say, oh, you know, you're just trying to shut a business down and that's terrible and you shouldn't, you know, you should. And that's not the point. Like, holding people to account doesn't mean that you just want them to go away. I don't think anybody's saying they're not going to go to Bellwood Coffee. Well, some people are.
Yeah.
But my point is, the point is conversation. I mean, that's what didn't happen. That's what they missed, was to be in conversation with the people that they are in community with. So the last thing you want to do, and you all know, like if you make a mistake in a story and you say, oh, my bad, I made a mistake, right? And then you make a mistake on the correction, that's the worst thing you can possibly do, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like not talking about this issue now would put them in a position of possibly making a mistake on their correction. So now is the time. Now is the time to engage and to talk about this. Yes, they apologize. Yes, they said they're going to do better, but let's talk about what better looks like.
Right.
That's the point.
Yeah, I think I read a comment on, I don't know what page it was because the comments were everywhere on Instagram.
Everywhere.
But I saw a comment that said exactly that. What does it look like to rectify this? You need to be talking to the community, understand the impact that you've had or made by painting over this icon, and come together for a solution. You don't need to be in isolation anymore because look what happens when you make a decision without considering the
Right.
people around you.
Or the whole, let's not talk about it because they apologized, so it's over. No, it's
That's
not. This is the
dismissive.
start.
Yeah.
This is actually the beginning.
Yeah, because an apology is nothing without corrective behavior in general. So they have to do the other part. So, and I think, you know, as far as apologies go, it wasn't, both of them weren't terrible, but it seemed like they're aware that they really, you know, effed up, for lack of a better word. And hopefully they're going to stand by their words and really, you know, connect with the community and talk to some artists, and hopefully the mural can be repainted somewhere or something, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is a tough one because I guess make the assumption that Jovita Moore is a legend to everyone, and she provides a similar sentimental value to everyone. She was around for so long, just an all around icon. So I often wonder, what did you all think about Jovita Moore? Did she not impact you in any way? Did her legacy not impact you in any way? Or maybe it didn't impact you more than opening up this new shop and having your own branding.
Right.
And the thing is like, I guess regardless if you didn't know, I mean, looking at the mural,
Right.
nothing about you nothing within your mind just said, what is this about? Like, it's a giant, it's not like a small thing. It's you can see it's very
someone's
noticeable.
face and name on the side of a wall.
Maybe you never took a step back and said, maybe this could be important.
Yeah.
So that's.
I also feel like, this was part of a series, right? There were 9 murals around the city that artists were selected to paint as a tribute to different people that they felt were important. So Pinky Cole was one of them. Dia just smirking. That's fine.
On Real Housewives now.
That's fine. But so there were other people that were represented, and so to me, I feel like whoever it was, if you see this. And it was also commissioned by the hometown soccer team. Like, there's so many ways in which these murals are connected to the Atlanta community. And if you are part of that community, it behooves you to think about what all that means and who it means something to. So we'll see.
I wonder how quickly they're going to move on this one. Because I think it's just a matter, I think over time we'll see if they really rectify it the way they say they will, and if it's satisfying to the community and the people you hurt the most by doing this.
I actually hope they don't move quickly, because I think that's how they got into the position they're in. Right?
Take your time, Bill Wood. Take your time.
Slow down and ask questions. Be curious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Until next time. Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to It's UATL. UATL is a source for Black culture and community in Atlanta, powered by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and its supporters. The show is hosted by Nedra Roan, Deasia Page, and me, Naja Parker.
If you liked the episode, be sure to follow us and leave us a rating and review. It really helps. It's UATL wouldn't be possible without our lead producer, Isabel Kirby McGowan, and producer Kara Schillen. Extra support from Ron Williams. Our executive producer is Gavin Godfrey. Megan Nadolski is our senior producer, and Samantha Stamler is the head of audio.
Special thanks to Janelle Davis, the managing editor of UATL for the AJC. Want more UATL? Be sure to join the community at uatl.com. See you next week.